appears the Democratic Party is attempting to fight back against Donald Trump's executive order, eliminating the independence of agencies and placing them under the direct control of the executive branch. Now, obviously, people are understandably concerned. Okay, you're eliminating the independence of these agencies, placing them under the direct control of the president. These are agencies like the FEC. Okay, the Federal Elections Commission, which Congress established in 1974 to enforce federal campaign finance law. You could put that in the direct control of Donald Trump, who received $277 million from Elon Musk. Oh boy. Now, the lawsuit filed Friday by Elias Law Group on behalf of three national Democratic committees challenges Trump's executive order 14215, which is intended to ensure presidential supervision and control of the entire executive branch, basically making this guy a dictator. Yeah. This is Project 2025, Unitary Executive Theory, okay, which aims to bring all these independent agencies into the executive branch and make them answerable only to the president, as he would be able to control who runs them directly. Okay. Now, in a lawsuit filed on Friday, the plaintiffs argued that Trump's directive violates the Federal Election Campaign Act and undermines the FEC's bipartisan structure, established to ensure impartial enforcement of federal campaign finance laws. So now I've talked about the FEC before and how the structure itself of having it be bipartisan, unfortunately, has made it to where the FEC is essentially toothless, right? They're not doing anything because half of the FEC doesn't want to do any campaign finance law. I think that a good way to, try to have campaign finance laws again be enforced is that instead of having it bipartisan, just be completely independent, right? And so, no, you're not going to stack it with people from one party that's going to make it so that you can't do anything, okay? No, you have to have people who are independent of the political process be involved there instead and make decisions based on the law. And that's really it. So, yeah, it needs to be fixed. What Trump is going to do is he's saying, no, we're not going to fix it. We're going to break it even more. We're going to stack it with my handpicked political, appointees, okay, that is going to let me get away with everything I want while weaponizing it against Democrats. Because of course, right? Now, they argue in the lawsuit that if this order is allowed to stand, the president, through coercion or direct control, could affect the FEC decision-making to his party's benefit. Quote, the extinction of the FEC's independence and replacement with the president's decree severely harms plaintiffs by placing the head of the opposing political party in charge of interpreting campaign finance law for the executive branch. Yep, exactly. Look, this whole thing, okay, not just the FEC, but all the other agencies, right? This is all part of his power grab, okay? Now, the precedent here is not in favor of Trump's actions. In fact, you had past decisions like Humphrey's Executor v. U.S. The Supreme Court actually did their job. They prevented presidents from firing members of independent regulatory bodies like the FEC. That said, Trump now has a very friendly conservative Supreme Court. These are activist judges, okay? And so you got people like Russ Vought, okay, the other Project 2025 guys that are like, oh, yes, please take it to the Supreme Court so that we can win. Huh. Gee, it's almost like the Supreme Court is corrupt and broken. So now, not only would this help erode the independence of other agencies, but also allow Republicans to do corruption on a massive scale, as if they're not already doing that, right? Without the FEC, okay? And again, as I mentioned, it would allow them to use the FEC to weaponize it against their political opponents. Oh, it looks like you are corrupt over there. You Democrats. You have taken money from I don't know this and this, and we have just deemed that to be illegal. What? So, look, this is one of the many lawsuits that's going on right now. So it's not like they're not doing anything. There are a lot of challenges to these executive orders. Some of them have been successful in blocking Trump's agenda, at least temporarily. Good. Now, in fact, a federal judge recently ruled that Trump had exceeded his authority last month by firing the head of the Office of Special Counsel, a key federal whistleblower agency. In fact, D.C. District Court Judge Amy Berman Jackson Saturday ordered the Trump administration to recognize Hampton Dellinger as head of the OSC. Okay, and ruling in Dellinger's favor, the judge cited Humphrey's executor v. U.S. So that's going to come up a lot. Okay, the judge wrote, in sum, it would be antithetical to the very existence of this particular government agency and position to vindicate the president's articles to power as it was described in Humphrey's executor, a constitutional license to bully officials in the executive branch into doing his will. The Trump administration, of course, argues, that 1978 law, which created that position in the first place, unconstitutional. Really? Everything that you're doing right now is basically unconstitutional. All these executive orders. You want to argue what's constitutional or not? Come on. Now, they have also asserted that the president should have the authority to fire Dellinger without reason whatsoever. Okay, but under the law, the president is prevented from removing the special counsel for reasons other than inefficiency, neglect of duty, or malfeasance. They couldn't come up with any of those things, and they're just like, you know what? Don't care. I'm president. I can fire whoever I want. Great. So now, that said, the court finds that the statute is not unconstitutional, and it finds that the elimination of the restrictions on plaintiffs' removal would be fatal to the defining and essential feature of the Office of Special Counsel, as it was conceived by Congress and signed into law by the president. Its independence. The court concludes that they must stand. So Trump's sitting there trying to reorganize the government into basically, no, I'm the president, which means you do everything I tell you. I am a king. I am an emperor. I am dictator for a day. Except it's not going to be just for a day. Okay. That's it. All these independent agencies that could check me in my power, I got to get rid of them. Well, that ain't right. And it's definitely not constitutional. Now, Dellinger's case is significant in part because it was the first to go before the Supreme Court, who last month did punt on the Trump administration's challenge to Judge Jackson's temporary restraining order that first halted Dellinger's dismissal. So, maybe there's hope. I don't know. Not only that, but a federal court ruled last Thursday that the government's Human Resources Office had unlawfully exceeded their authority by ordering agencies to fire thousands of probationary federal workers earlier in the month. Judge William Alsup's ruling was in response to a lawsuit filed by a coalition of labor unions and organizations challenging a February 14th memo sent by the Office of Personnel Management, directing federal agencies to separate probationary employees you have not identified as mission critical, which I'm sure, they think none of you are mission critical because we don't believe in the mission. So we're just going to get rid of everyone. That's what they think, right? And of course, in order to justify these firings, they're like, wow, poor performance. Well, everything is poor performance if you hate their entire job that they do. So, yeah, maybe that's how they try to justify it in their minds. But in reality, there is no real justification for these firings. Plaintiffs argued that they were carried out based on these lies, and Alsup ruled the Office of Personnel Management does not have any authority whatsoever under any statute in the history of the universe to hire and fire employees at another agency. Damn, I love that. Now, that said, on this one, Alsup does not have the order or the authority to reinstate those employees, unfortunately. Nor can they, of course, bar the agency heads from dismissing employees in the future. His ruling does say, though, you can't just be ordered to fire people by the OPM. This ruling by Judge Alsup is an important initial victory for patriotic Americans, said Everett Kelly, the national president of the American Federation of Government Employees. Across this country who were illegally fired from their jobs by an agency that has no authority to do so. So, look, that ruling, these are some good rulings and good cases, but that shouldn't be the entirety of resisting against Donald Trump. Okay, there should be multi-pronged, defense of not only our, democracy, our system of government, but also these court cases, protests, like the ones outside of Tesla, all this stuff. And there should be maximum resistance by the people. Okay. And I think as this goes on, that's going to happen. But until we get there, here's some wins, some examples of wins against what Trump is trying to do, which is, again, not just to be a dictator for a day, but for the rest of his life. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.